Prabhuji, I made you the host. You can start.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. We'll start with a very quick kirtan. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. यशोदनन्दनं व्रजजनरञ्जनं यमुनातीरवनचारी यशोदनन्दनं व्रजजनरञ्जनं यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रजजन रञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा prayers Lama, then we'll see stop it. So ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopah Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Mahavadhanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Namah Pankajanaභaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukund karoti vachalum pangamulagayate girim yat krupatamaha munde Shri Gurum Dhinatharinam Mananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyishwaram Pavitro Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gato Piva Yasmareti Pundarekaksham Sabhakyabhyantarasuchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji's Dandat Pranam Satyadev Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Praveen Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Praveen Prabhu and Puja Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, Danda Pranam.
Krishna Kumari Mataji, Chandramani Prabhu, Hare Krishna Ka Bhagaru.
Danda Pranam, Prabhuji.
So generally this is the Saturday Sunday class of Bhagavatam where we continue chapter after chapter. So it goes in a sequential order basically. So currently we are in sixth canto, 18th chapter. So కనబడుతుందండి screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So we are in the sixth canto, 18th chapter. Sixth canto is called Prescribed Duties of Mankind. Manola Vidyukta Dharmamana. So in that we are looking at the 18th chapter, Diti vows to kill King Indra. So this is in the 18th chapter. I think most of the people are okay. Praveen Prabhu is there, so let's stick to English language. So in the 18th chapter, if you look at it, so if you look at the title of the canto itself, it is the duties of mankind, and this chapter title is Killing of Indra. So there's already some kind of contradiction here, right? One is the duties of mankind, and we're talking about how woman Diti wants to kill Indra. And here, chapter classes by class, right now we are at shloka number 42, right? Shloka number 42 onwards is what I'm going to discuss from 42 to 62. That's what is allocated for me for today. But again, if you look at sequentially, in 32 to 43 is Diti's desire to kill Indra and Kashyapa's reflection. So we have to understand a little bit of this story basically. You know who Diti is, who is Kashyapa. Diti and Kashyapa are the mother and father of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Talidandulu, Diti, Kashyapa. So the way both of them were born is because Diti wants to unite with Kashyap at an odd time, and then as a result of it, two Danavas were born, or the Jaivijayas in their because they have blocked Kumaras visiting Lord Krishna or Vaikuntha Lord Mahavishnu. So these two people were given because they have insulted Vaishnavas, they were given or they were asked to stay away from Vaikuntha, stay away from the Lord. They are separated from Lord because they have insulted Vaishnavas. The things that we should understand here is when you insult a Vaishnava, that's what happens. You get separated from Lord. Lord gets you can say it is part of the pastime. It's part of God's Leela, but we should understand even if it is part of the Leela, your frustration suffers, your free will suffers basically because you're away from Lord. What does it mean? The free will gets its wings and it can go anywhere basically, right? So that kind of thing might happen. So anyway, let's not get into that discussion. So the point here is Diti wanted to attract Kashyapa at an odd hour, and Kashyapa actually tried to convince her, but obliged. So that's the point we need to discuss or keep in mind. He did oblige. As a part of it, the kids were born, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And both of them had problems with Indra, and ultimately they had problems with Mahavishnu, and then problems with Krishna. So then the Lord had to come in the form of Varaha and in the form of Narasimha Swami and kill both of them. So Diti is not happy that both her children have died, and they have died for saving Indra by the Lord himself. So she wanted to have a child she wanted to kill Indra. Bottom line is she wanted to kill Indra. So that is where we are going to start this particular class. Let's go further. If you look at this, how this chapter is divided, it's 32 to 43 shlokas are where Kashyap glorified a devoted wife, 39 to 43. That's the portion we probably look into, 39 to 43. I'm to be blamed. Who can understand a woman? So basically here, Kashyap's condemnation happens. So we'll start with 42nd shloka and we'll move up and down and then we'll see. So this particular shloka, actually 42nd shloka, has its own, it comes with its own baggage basically. So Prabhuji and Mataji, before we start the class, please bless me that I try to explain my understanding as understood by Acharyas, the Guru Parampara that have tried to explain Bhagavatam. So basically, and this particular sloka, if I'm, please don't get offended by anything here. The sloka is given by Sukadeva Goswami as a conversation between Kashyap Muni and Diti, and then that is translated by Srila Prabhupada, and then that's what we are trying to discuss today. So we'll start with the 42nd shloka, right? This is the text of 42nd. Let's try to read out the shloka first.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Why Diti got angry with Indra, sir?
Because Diti is angry with Indra, because God tried to save Indra, and for that reason he killed these two people. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Okay, to save Indra basically. Okay. So she thinks it is because of Indra that my two children have died, and I want to kill. She wants to kill Indra basically, right?
Okay. Thank you.
So in that context, we'll see 42nd shloka. Nahi kasyat priya srinam anjasa swa asisha atmanam patim putram bhataram va gnanti adhe ghatayanti cha. Anybody wants to read? Can anybody try to read the shloka? Does any ఎవరైనా శ్లోక చదువుతారమ్మా 42వ శ్లోక?
చదువుతాను తీయండి.
తెలుగు బుక్ ఉందాక దగ్గర?
అది ఉంది, అదే 42 కదా.
624వ పేజ్.
హరే కృష్ణ. నహి కశ్చిత్ ప్రియ స్త్రీణాం అంజసా శాశ్వతాత్మనాం స్వాశితాత్మనాం పతిం పుత్రం భ్రాతరం వా ఘ్నన్యర్థే ఘాతయంతి చ.
Thank you, Akka. Anybody else wants to read?
శ్లోక చదువు.
శ్లోక చదువుతారా?
హరే కృష్ణ. 42 శ్లోకం. నహి కశ్చిత్ ప్రియ స్త్రీణాం అంజసా స్వాశిషాత్మనాం పతిం పుత్రం భ్రాతరం వా ఘ్నంత్యర్థే ఘాతయంతి చ. హరే కృష్ణ.
Hare Krishna. So let's read the word meaning. Na, not. He, certainly. Kaschit, anyone. Priya, dear. Shrinam, to women. Anjasa, actually. Swaisha, for their own interest. Atmanam, most dear. Patim, husband. Putram, son. Bhratram, brother. Va, or Gnanti, they kill Arte for their own interest. Ghatayanti, caused to be killed, cha also. Let's read the translation. To satisfy their own interest, women deal with men as if men were most dear to them. But no one is actually dear to them. Women are supposed to be very saintly. But for their own interest, they can kill even their husbands, sons, or brothers, or cause them to be killed by others. Hare Krishna. This is a powerful statement here Kashyap Muni is making about Titi. So this is not a normal sentence as that Sukadeva Goswami has used. To satisfy their own interest, women deal with men as if the men were most dear to them, but no one is actually dear to them. Women are supposed to be very saintly, but for their own interest, they can kill even their husbands, sons or brothers, or cause them to be killed by others. Right? తెలుగు వర్డింగ్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్, స్వలాభమును తీర్చుకొనుటకు స్త్రీలు తమకు పురుషులు అత్యంత ప్రియులైనట్లుగా వ్యవహరించినను నిజమునకు వారికి ఎవ్వరునూ ప్రియులు కారు. సాధువర్తులైనను ఉండవలసినప్పటికీ వారు తమ స్వార్థము కొరకు భర్తను, పుత్రులను, సోదరులైనా వధించగలరు లేదా ఇతరులచే వధింపు చేయుదురు. You have to understand. So let us go through few slokas before this shloka and then come back to this. So if you look at the 30, what number did I say? 39 onwards. Let's go to 39. The 39 purport, Kashyap Muni thought, alas, I have now become too attached to material enjoyment. Taking advantage of this, my mind has been attracted by the illusionary energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a woman, my wife. Therefore, I am surely rich person who will glide down the downward hill. Even 30, that's 39. But let's see what happened before that. So here, Kashyap Muni is so pleased with Diti's service. Okay, Diti is such a devoted wife to her husband. Then Kashyap Muni gives her a benediction. My dear gentle wife, because you have worshipped me with great devotion, considering me a representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead, I shall reward you by fulfilling your desires, which are unobtainable for an unchaste wife. So you have been so nice to me, so I'm going to give you a benediction. This is what happens in everybody's life. So you work, I mean, your wife is so nice to you, you work hard for the month and come back and give the salary to the wife. If the wife, if you're not happy with, if you don't trust her so much, probably you'll run the whole show by yourself. Right? If you're so happy, then you just trust her and you give the salary, right? So salary means you're earning. Salary means you're earning. You're earning based on your skills, basically, right? So the same thing here, Kashyap Muni is so pleased with his wife, and he has considering me as a representative of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's saying, I have so much of tapas shakti that I'm ready to give you the best benediction, reward you wanted, whatever you want, I'm going to give you, because that's what I have, because I'm so happy with you. Then what did Diti ask? Diti replied, oh my husband, oh great soul, I have now lost my sons. If you want to give me a benediction, I ask you for an immortal son who can kill Indra. I pray for this because Indra, with the help of Vishnu, has killed my two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Oh, right? This is what you're asking, right, Bhavagaru? So I have lost my two sons. He said, here. The thing to think is, the moment Diti got a benediction for her husband, she wanted to go and kill Indra, right? So then Kashyapa understood what mistake, what did he do? He was lamenting for what he has done. Upon hearing Diti's request, Kashyap Muni was very much aggravated. Alas, he lamented, now I face the danger of impious act of killing Indra. So because of me, now I'm empowering my wife to of a benediction, and the benediction is to kill Indra. So I'm going to get part of the sin. Basically, it is because of me she's going to get this power, and now I have to help her kill Indra, and that's my promise to her. You see what? You see? Are you understanding the problem that Kashyap Muni is facing here? So he was at a moment he was frustrated of his own self, for he has trusted somebody, and that lady is now getting engaging herself in killing Indra, and he's going to be part of the plan. See, this is like the Lady Macbeth, basically, right? So Kashyap Muni thought, alas, I have now become too attached to material enjoyment. Taking advantage of this, my mind has been attracted by the illusory energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a woman, my wife. Therefore, I'm surely wretched person who will glide down towards hell. If I make this happen, if this happens, I'm going to go down to the hell, because why did it all happen? Because I am so attached to the material wife, basically the body of the wife. So again, here Prabhuji and Mataji, you should understand, the whole story is happening because Diti is thinking in body consciousness. Diti is trying to kill Indra. Diti is worried that two of her sons died because somebody wanted to save Indra, and that's Indra is the root cause. And here Diti is asking for the empowerment of, as a woman, she has the power of bringing up a son, and she's asking for that kind of child, basically. Again, look at it at bodily consciousness that these people are conversing. This woman, my wife, has adopted a means that follows her nature, and therefore she is not to be blamed. But I am a man, therefore all condemnation upon me, all condemnation upon me. I am not at all conversant with what is good for me, since I could not control my senses. See what happens when you can't control your senses. So this is what happens. So you don't know what is good or what is bad. You lose the ability to judge between good and bad, and as a result of it, you are more attracted to uh, material things, and that is going to be the beginning of a downward spiral. Now here Kashyap Muni is standing at a point where all his taposhakti is going to go in vain, because that is going to be used to kill Indra, and in the process he is going to go to hell, basically, because of his attraction to a body, a female body, basically, right? So then comes the 41st canto. A woman's face is as attractive and beautiful as a blossoming lotus flower during autumn. Her words are very sweet and they give pleasure to the ear. But if we study a woman's heart, we can understand it to be extremely sharp like a blade of a razor. In these circumstances, who could understand the dealings of a woman? See, when you fall or when you get attracted to the bodily consciousness or body of a woman by looking at her face, and then and her sweet voice, and you are filling up your eyes and ears material with a materialistic sense gratification. You lose the ability to see through the heart of a woman and understand the extreme behavior, basically. And this, who could understand the dealings of a woman? This is what Kashyapuni is telling himself, basically. And this is where we start our class today, the 42nd shloka. To satisfy their own interest, women deal with men as if men were most dear to them, but no one is actually dear to them. Women are supposed to be very saintly, but for their own interest, they can kill even their husbands, sons, or brothers, or cause them to be killed by others. So with this, we'll start reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody wants to read some portions of the purport, Prabhuji and Matajis, just so that I understand we are all in the same class, basically?
Yes, Prabhuji, I will.
Okay.
I'll read.
Chandramauli Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A woman's nature has been particularly well studied by Kashyapa Muni. Women are self-interested by nature, and therefore they should be protected by all means, so that their natural inclination to be too self-interested will not be manifested. Women need to be protected by men. A woman should be cared for by her father in her childhood, by her husband in her youth, and by her grandsons in her old age. This is the intention of Manu, who says that a woman should not be given independence at any stage. Women must be cared for so that they will not be free to manifest their natural tendency for gross selfishness. There have been many cases, even in the present day, in which women have killed their husbands to take advantage of their insurance policies. This is not a criticism of a woman, but a practical study of their nature. Such natural instincts of a woman or a man are manifested only in the bodily conception of life. When either a man or a woman is advanced in spiritual consciousness, the bodily conception of life practically vanishes. We should see all women in spiritual units, Aham Brahmasmi, whose only duty is to satisfy Krishna. Then the influence, Prabhuji, could you please move up a little bit? Yeah. And then the influence of the different modes of material nature, which result from one's possessing a material body, will not act.
Hare Krishna. So, anybody wants to read the next paragraph, and then we'll have the discussion?
Hare Krishna, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Chandra.
The Krishna consciousness movement is so beneficial that it can very easily counteract the contamination of material nature, which results from one's possessing a material body. Bhagavad Gita, therefore, teaches in the very beginning that whether one is a man or woman, one must know that he or she is not a body, but spiritual soul. Everyone should understand, everyone should be interested in the activities of the spirit soul, not body. As long as one is activated by the bodily conception of life, there is always a danger of being misled, whether one is a man or woman. The soul is sometimes described as Purusha, because whether one is dressed as a woman or one is dressed as man or woman, one is inclined to enjoy this material world. One who has this spirit of enjoyment is described as a Purusha. Whether one is a man or woman, he is not interested in serving others. Everyone is interested in satisfying his or her own senses. Krishna consciousness, however, provides first-class training for a man or woman. A man should be trained to be first-class devotee of Lord Krishna, and a woman should be trained as very chaste follower of her husband. This will make the lives of both of them happy. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So let's go with a few sentences from the purport again. A woman's nature has been particularly well studied by Kashyapa Muni. Women are self-interested by nature, and therefore they should be protected by all means so that their natural inclination to be too self-interested will not be manifested. Again, in the shloka, Kashyapa Muni is saying, women in their self-interest can go to any extent. What is the extent Kashyapa Muni is saying? They can go to an extent of killing husbands, sons, or brothers even. See, basically what it means is here you have to understand the strength of a woman. We will again address come to that phrase strength of a woman after we go further in the shlokas. But here that can be, when you look at it at a materialistic woman as woman basically, but otherwise every living entity is considered a woman, and Purusha is Bhagavan himself, right? In that respect, every person has the same ability. But if you look at here in this context of Kashyapa Muni as male and Diti as woman, then this is what he is describing about Diti. Prabhuji and Mataji, can you think of other places where in Bhagavatam where women have indulged themselves to such activities? Can anybody think of any such incidents from Bhagavatam?
Yes, Prabhuji. Chitraketu's wife, sir.
Absolutely, Mataji. Chitraketu wives, right? Any other stories? So, and this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry,
Ah.
Prabhuji. Not like killing, but in Ramayana Shurpanaka, she went up to the extent of really insulating his brother.
Absolutely, Prabhu. And if you look at it is the Dasarada's benediction to Kaikeyi that resulted a similar act by Kaikeyi. And Kaikeyi loved Ram so much, she didn't care who becomes the king until Mandara induced into Kaikeyi, if Ram becomes the king, you are the favorite wife of Dasarath Maharaj, but Kaushalya will now become the king, mother of the king, and you will become less important in the kingdom. Then at that point of time, Kaikeyi went to any extent of to get rid of Ram, right? So she said, go, you have to send him out to the forest. And if Lakshman wants to go with him, it's his problem. If Sita wants to go with him, that's her problem. She didn't care if in 14 years they will die, they'll come back live or not. And she didn't even care that Dasarath Maharaj is on deathbed. But her wish has to be fulfilled. Her interest has to be fulfilled. In that case, the woman can get to a point. Again, why would this happen? Why would this happen? That's what Prabhupada tried to explain in his purports. So if that should not happen, means woman needs to be taken care by men at every stage of their life. Again, this is not this sloka or purport is not about anti-feminism. You should not look at it as anti-feminism. Feminism is something that has come when this Sanatana Dharma has not been followed. Or feminism has come when instead of following this Sanatana Dharma, an exploitation happened in its place. In the name of protection, women have been exploited, and that resulted in feminism and that revolution and all that stuff basically. But our Sanatana Dharma says everybody needs to serve. If the man has to serve the guru has to serve the God, the man has to serve the Lord through guru, the woman has to serve the husband, and the woman has to serve the Lord through her husband. So this is what our Sanatana Dharma has said, and Kashyap Muni believed that his wife is actually serving him, and then he gave the benediction. Prabhu and Mataji, you will actually see this. So there is in the feminine body, there is this tendency, women do not forget certain things very easily. In the sense, if you have exactly woman in power, there's nothing wrong with that. Woman in power with low thinking, then there is a problem. There is a problem. When I say low thinking, there is not so much of God conscious thinking. When you're in God conscious thinking, the self-interest aspect goes away. Especially if any one of you had a lady boss in office, or a man having a problem with a lady boss versus a man having problem with a male boss. At some time, the male boss and the person might make truce, but it's very difficult to make truce with a female boss, especially if she is not in a higher state of consciousness. I'm sure we have seen in the history like Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, and places like that, or even I have seen personally organizations, even voluntary organizations collapsing, teams in projects collapsing when women put their personal interest over bigger interest of the organization or bigger interest of the project, basically. It is just that it is little difficult for that particular body or woman of the constitution of that thought process probably is that it is very little difficult for them to forget, forgive, and move on, or excuse somebody when their self-interests are in jeopardy. This is what Prabhupada in his purport is saying, man has to take care. And let's see how Kashyap Muni takes care of this in the next points, next shlokas, basically. So, woman nature has been particularly well studied by Kashyap Muni. Women are self-interested by nature, and therefore they should be protected by all means so that their natural inclination to be too self-interested will not be manifested. Women need to be protected by men. A woman should be cared for her by her father, by her father in the childhood, by her husband in the youth, and by her grown-up sons in her old age. This is the injunction of Manu in his Manusmriti, who says that women should not be given independence at any stage. Again, the word independence means it is not, again, anti-feminism. Women must not be cared for so that they will not be free to manifest their natural tendency for gross selfishness. There have been many cases, even in present day, in which women have killed their husbands to take advantage of their insurance policies. This is not a criticism of women, but a practical study of their nature. Such a natural instincts of women or men are manifested only in the bodily conception of life. When either a man or a woman is advanced in spiritual consciousness, again, this is the point to get written in stone. When either a man or woman is advanced in spiritual consciousness, the bodily conception of life particularly vanishes. We should see all women as spiritual units. Aham Brahmosmi, whose only duty is to satisfy Krishna. Then the influence of the different modes of material nature which result from one's possessing material body will not act. Once the moment you are using your free will for satisfying Krishna in Krishna consciousness, then the modes of material nature, the role of Durga is nullified, and which results from one possessing a material body will not act. The Krishna consciousness movement is so beneficial that can very easily counter-react the contamination of material nature. which results from one's possessing of material body. Bhagavad Gita therefore teaches in the very beginning that whenever one is a man or a woman, one must know that he or she is not the body, but the spiritual soul. Everyone should be interested in the activities of spirit soul, not the body. As long as one is activated by the bodily conception of life, there is always the danger of being misled, whether one is a man or a woman. The soul is sometimes described as Purusha because whether one is dressed as a man or a woman, one is inclined to enjoy this material world. One who has this spirit of enjoyment is described as Purusha, whether one is a man or woman. He is not interested in serving others. Everyone is interested in satisfying his or her own senses. Krishna consciousness, however, provides first-class training for a man or a woman. A man should be trained to be a first-class devotee of the Lord Krishna, and a woman should be trained to be very chaste follower of her husband. That will make the lives of both of them happy. Again, Bhagavatam talks about wonderful chaste followers of women as chaste followers of their husbands. Like we have seen that in Gandhari, the Draupadi, Mandodari, like so many examples of Sita, Savitri, in Kunti Devi prayers. And so there is again, when that woman crosses that barrier of material thinking to Krishna conscious thinking, then there is no difference, because it's Vaishnavis. The woman becomes a Vaishnavi. If that does not happen, self-interest can come deep in women's thoughts than in men's thought, is what Kashyap Muni is here talking about. Any questions, Prabhu and Mataji, so far? Because I don't want to use the word controversy, because controversy itself can be controversial in this shloka. Hare Krishna. Shall we move on?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So in the 43 sloka, I promised to give her a benediction, and this promise cannot be violated. But Indra does not deserve to be killed. In these circumstances, the solution I have is quite suitable. Perfect solution of Kashyap Muni is thinking. Right? Again, here Kashyap Muni has the challenge of two things. He, as the father of the house, he is the husband of the family, husband of the Diti, has the responsibility of fixing her mind, and he, as a person who has given a promise, has to keep up his promise, and he cannot allow Indra to be killed, but at the same time has to fulfill the promise, keep the wife happy, and still see that he or his wife, again, see that neither of them, himself or his wife, are not going to hell because of his material attraction to that female body. It's a challenge that Kashyap Muni is taking on himself, basically, and he's coming up with a suitable solution. The solution I have is quite suitable. Again, Kashyap Muni is thinking, oh, I have to solve this problem. Let's see how he solves. Kashyap Muni concluded, Titi is eager to have a son who can kill Indra, since she is a woman. After all, and it is not very intelligent. He shall train her in such a way that instead of always thinking of how to kill Indra, she will become a Vaishnava, the devotee of Krishna. This is the role of a man. This is the role of a soul in a man's body. If she agrees to follow the rules and regulations of Vaishnava principles, the unclean core of her heart will certainly be cleansed. Chetodarpanamarjana. This is the process of devotional service. Anyone can be purified by following the principles of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. For Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it can purify even the dirtiest class of men and transform them into topmost Vaishnavas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement aims at this purpose. Narottam Das Thakur also is saying in this sloka, so basically. The appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga is especially meant to deliver the fallen souls who are always planning something for material enjoyment. He gave the people of this age the advantage of being able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and thus become fully pure, free from all material contamination. Once one becomes a pure Vaishnava, he transcends all material conceptions of life. See, basically, the kind of problem Kashyap Muni has and the kind of solution Kashyap Muni is putting in front of Diti. The only way to get out of this kind of contamination, the contamination that he had, the attraction that he had for the sense gratification that he had from the material body of the other soul Diti, that resulted to a point where he could ruin his consciousness, his life, his wife's life by attempting to kill Indra. And he knows for sure Indra cannot be killed easily because killing Indra means you have to go against Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is already protecting Indra. So the only, again, his idea is never to kill Indra, whether he's being protected by Vishnu or not, but he believed Indra is a Vaishnava. He doesn't deserve to be killed. He doesn't deserve to be killed, at least definitely not by his wife. But his main purpose here is to change her fundamental thinking. And that can only happen, only by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That can happen only by converting her into a great Vaishnavi. Thus, Kashyap Muni tried to transform his wife into Vaishnavi so that she might give up the idea of killing Indra. He wanted both her and her sons to be purified so that they would be fit to become pure Vaishnavas. Of course, sometimes a particular a practitioner deviates from Vaishnava principles, and there is a chance that he may fall down. But Kashyap Muni thought that even if one falls while practicing Vaishnava principles, he is still not a loser. Even a fallen Vaishnava is eligible for better results, as confirmed in Bhagavata. Swalpam apasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even practicing the Vaishnava principles to a small extent, swalpa, can save one from the greatest danger of material existence. Thus, Kashyap Muni planned to instruct his wife Diti to become a Vaishnava because he wanted to save the life of Indra. Hare Krishna. Any questions on this shloka, Amma? Any questions so far? So the benediction has to be satisfied. The wife's wish has to be purified. The wife's mind has to be purified, and the wish is not wish becomes mundane, for she has to see bigger results as a Vaishnava by enjoying a relationship with the God. Right? So that's the goal that he set to. See, we have seen in the history of Bhagavatam, or in the stories we have read so far, where Dhruva Maharaj wants to a kingdom bigger than the Brahmaloka. But when Lord Vishnu puts conch shell on his head, the whole desire vanishes like that, because his association, he turns into a pure Vaishnava. He does 6 months of great austerity, and that all for a piece of land, and he laments, why did I do this? But again, that's part of a bigger Leela, that he has the responsibility of taking care of Lord's wish, and he had to take care of Dhruvaloka. But that's the power of Vaishnava association, pure Vaishnava association, pure association of pure Vaishnava. This is the degree of things we needed, especially in Kali Yuga. We have to be worried about even the persons you are thinking you are associating with. Is he a Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava, or is he a make-believe Vaishnava, or fake it till you make it kind of Vaishnava? So we have to be careful about these things. But in the whole process of our association has to help us bond our relationship with God. If not, again, Chanakya Pandit says, if that is not happening, that's not happening. It is okay to keep a distance with somebody you think is a Vaishnava, but if that is not helping you to bond your relationship with God, even with God, basically. Again, the goal is to make ourselves Vaishnavas, and the goal is to get association of pure Vaishnavas. The goal is to make sure you as a man of the house takes care of the wife and the children. You as the woman of the house takes care of the children. The husband has to follow the Guru and the Krishna. Wife has to follow the Guru and Krishna through husband. And children have to follow the Guru and Krishna through their parents. And if that is not happening, then there is something that needs to be fixed before you lose time, basically, because you're always fighting against time for getting out of this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi cycle. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Kashyap Muni, thinking in this way, became somewhat angry, considering himself, O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Kuru. He spoke to Diti as follows. Let's get to the 45th shloka. Kashyap Muni said, my dear gentle wife, if you follow my instructions regarding this vow for at least 1 year, you will surely get a son who will be able to kill Indra. However, if you deviate from this vow of following the Vaishnava principles, you will get a son who will be favorable to Indra. So he already made sure to her, I will, because I am responsible for this benediction, and I have the responsibility of taking care of your interests also as your husband. And I have double interest here, basically, as your husband and as the person who has given you the benediction. Basically, I have to fulfill your desire. But then for me to fulfill this desire, you have to follow certain rules, certain principles, basically. And believe me, Diti, if you fail to follow these rules, what the fallback is that your son will actually become a friend of Indra. You will get a son who will be favorable to Indra. So if you fail in this endeavor, then the result is that Indra is going to be friends with your sons, and you cannot do anything, basically, right? The word Indraha refers to an asura who is always eager to kill Indra. An enemy of Indra is naturally a friend to asuras. But the word Indraha also refers to one who follows Indra or who is obedient to him. When one becomes a devotee of Indra, he is certainly a friend to demigods. Thus, the word Indrahadeva Bandhavya are equivocal. For they say your son will kill Indra, but he will be very friendly to the demigods. If a person actually becomes friend of demigods, he certainly would not be able to kill Indra. So these two things can't coexist. One is hating Indra and loving demigods. If you have to hate Indra, you have to be an asura. So you can't have a son who is going to be friend with the other devatas and yet kill the leader of the devatas. So Kashyap Muni thought the easy path is to have change the mind of Diti, not about easiness. The right thing to do is change the path of mindset of Diti, for Indra is in the service of Lord. Then Diti replied, my dear Brahmana, I must accept your advice and follow the vow. Now let me understand what I have to do. What is forbidden and what will not break my vow? Please clearly state all this to me. So Diti is determined. Diti is ready to do anything to fulfill her determined goal, basically. Again, this is power you see in most of the female bodies, basically. The constitution or the combination of things in a female body puts the soul in such a situation of that determination. There are so many races in the world where women are considered to be a higher race. For example, in Judaism, the purification is for men. Woman is considered already pure, basically, because once somebody is fixated, especially a woman is fixated on a thought process, it is difficult to change. Especially a woman is fixated on a Krishna consciousness thought process, it is very difficult to change. That's the reason why even in Krishna consciousness, we see more women attending the classes, following things compared to men. It is not because they're in distress. In fact, if you look at the statistics of suicide, does anybody know the statistics of suicide, Prabhus and Matajis? We always talk about in the news, somebody dies and a woman dies. But what's the proportion, the ratio of men to women in statistics of suicides? Hare Krishna, anybody want to take even a chance? Guess at a number? Hare Krishna, anybody there?
No, you have to tell us.
It is 1:3. Men's suicide rate is 3 times higher than women's suicide. That's in India. In the Western world, it is 4 times higher. 1:4. For every 4 times men die compared to women. Basically, that's the brittleness, you can call it, or weakness, you call it. That's lack of courage to take on things. And the women that have actually suicided in India case or in Western case, half the ones are actually harassed by men, basically. Otherwise, if that harassment aspect is not there, probably there is no women suicide. What I'm trying to say is, women are a lot more stronger than men, basically. The woman body is a lot more stronger to the a concept, a thought, a surrender, much more is higher in women. So again, let's get on to the 47th sloka. Kashyap Muni said, my dear wife, to follow this vow, do not be violent or cause harm to anyone. Do not curse anyone. Do not speak lies. Do not cut your nails and hair. And do not touch impure things like skulls and bones. Again, he's putting in all the principles, rules that a person should follow to become a Vaishnava. Kashyap Muni's first instruction to wife was not to be envious. That's the first and foremost reason under which a woman tries to act negative. And that's the negative thought process that can result into a point of killing children. That's what we saw in Chitraketu's case. That's what we saw in Kaikeyi case. The general tendency of anyone within the material world is to be envious, and therefore to become a Krishna conscious person, one must curb this tendency as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. A Krishna conscious person is always non-envious, whereas others are always envious. See, the fundamental difference between a person who is in Krishna consciousness and non-Krishna consciousness. This is what Prabhupada is saying. The greatest, no, the basic requirement, that's not the greatest requirement. The basic requirement of Krishna to be in Krishna consciousness is non-enviousness. Non-enviousness. Thus, Kashyap Muni's instruction that his wife will not be envious indicates that this is the first stage of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Kashyap Muni desired to train his wife to be a Krishna conscious person. For this would suffice to protect both her and Indra. So again, his goal is to protect Indra. No, his goal is, he knows Indra can be protected one way or other. His goal is also to do his duty as the husband of the house, as the husband. That's what the chapter name, the canto name is, right? The prescribed duties of mankind is to protect his wife and put her in the path of service to the Lord, basically. And that starts with taking away the envy out of the equation. Right, Prabhu and Matajis? Any questions? Let's get on to the 48th sloka. Kashyap Muni continued, my dear gentle wife, never enter the water while bathing, never be angry, and do not even speak or associate with wicked people. Never wear clothes that have not been properly washed, and do not put on a garland that has already been worn. Again, these are all the rules we have to follow if we want to advance ourselves in Krishna consciousness. Never eat leftover food, never eat prasad offered to goddess Kali, and do not eat anything contaminated by flesh or fish. Do not eat anything brought or touched by a Sudra, nor anything seen by a woman in her menstrual period. Do not drink water by joining your palms. Again, the details of what happens of each of the things are not so much mentioned here, but generally the goddess Kali is offered food containing meat and fish. And therefore Kashyap Muni strictly forbade his wife to take the remnants of such food. Actually, a Vaishnava is not allowed to take any food offered to the demigods. The Vaishnava is always fixed in accepting prasad offered to Lord Vishnu. Through all these instructions, Kashyap Muni, in a negative way, instructed his wife Diti how to become a Vaishnavi. So, any instruction that we get to become a Vaishnavi have to be taken and followed basically. After eating, you should not go out of the street without having washed your mouth, hands, and feet. You should not go out in the evenings or with your hair loose, nor should you go out unless you are properly decorated with ornaments. You should not leave the house unless you are very grave and are sufficiently covered. So here Kashyap Muni is offering so many do's and don'ts. And Diti is eagerly waiting to hear all this and follow, because her fixation on the goal is so strong. The goal can be wrong, but her fixation on the goal is so strong. That's the point we need to take out of this basically. The fixation of the goal is so strong, the strength of that fixation. Then once you replace the goal with the proper goal, then the fixation still remains in the same strength, then you automatically become a Vaishnavi or a Vaishnava. That's what here Kashyap Muni has understood the mindset of a woman, but he also understood the strength of that mindset that is appearing to think negative, right? Kashyap Muni advised his wife not to go out into street unless she was well decorated and well dressed. He did not encourage the mini skirts that have now become fashionable. In Oriental civilization, when a woman goes out onto the street, she must be fully covered so that no man will recognize who she is. All these methods are to be accepted for purification. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, one is fully purified, and thus one remains always transcendental to the contamination of the material world. Let's move on. You should not lie down without having washed both your feet or without being purified, nor with wet feet. Hare Krishna, somebody is not on mute, I think. Okay. Nor with wet feet, nor with your head pointed west or north. You should not be lie naked or with other women or during the sunrise or sunset. The rules are only going to increase for Diti so that her transformation is put in fast pace. Putting on washed clothes, being always pure, and being adorned with turmeric, sandalwood pulp, and other auspicious items. Before breakfast, one should worship the cow or the Brahmanas, the goddess of fortune, and the supreme personality of Godhead. So again, these are more and more rules, more and more don'ts and do's that Kashyap Muni is putting to his wife. With flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, ornaments, and other paraphernalia, a woman following this vow should worship women who have sons and whose husbands are living. The pregnant wife should worship her husband and offer him prayers. She should meditate upon him, thinking that he is situated in her womb. The child in the womb is part of her husband's body. Therefore, the husband, through his representative, indirectly remains within the womb of the pregnant wife. So she should respect the representation of her husband, the son, with the same the same attitude as she's respecting her husband, whom she knows is a Vaishnava, and because of that strength, he's got the benediction that she is getting. She's making use of that benediction of a Vaishnava, and in the sense here Kashyap Muni put parallels between himself and the yet to be born son, and you want the yet to be born son to kill Indra, but he's saying indirectly you should worship this yet to be born kid as a Vaishnava. The more you're worshipping this yet to be born kid as a Vaishnava, then in Vaishnava there will not be the attitude to kill anybody. So indirectly, he is nullifying her desire in her own practice. Indirectly, he's taking away things. He's taking away the tools that she thinks she has to, and he's making the same tools instead of doing her job, do the job of a Vaishnava. In the 54th shloka, Kashyap Muni continued, if you perform this ceremony called Umsavana, adhering to the vow with faith for at least 1 year, you will give birth to a son destined to kill Indra. But if there is any disciplinary, discrepancy in the discharge of this vow, the son will be a friend to Indra. He's everywhere. He's cautioning her, what is ultimately going to happen. O King Parikshit, Diti, the wife of Kashyapa, agreed to undergo the purificatory process, purificatory process known as Umsavana. Yes, she said, I shall do everything according to your instructions. With great jubilation, she became pregnant, having taken semen from Kashyapa, and faithfully began discharging the vow. See again, her strength is coming from her desire. Her strength that of maintaining a process of becoming a Vaishnava is coming with an anti-Vaishnava goal. The goal is something anti-Vaishnava, but the process is Vaishnavism. And so the goal can just like that vanish because goal is material and Vaishnavism is spiritual. Anything, the spirituality can take over materialistic thought process. You're understanding, Prabhu's and Matajis? This is where we explain the subtle body concepts, right? The mind, intelligence, and ego. When the mind is now engaged in activities by the elements, the indriyas, so in such a way that the intelligence is getting purified. When the intelligence starts to listen to Shastra, there is no role for ego, because ego will only look at Atma. Ego will only look at things that will make Atma joyful, and that is a relation with the Paramatma. This is what Kashyap Muni is simply engaging her elements and chasing and in transforming her mind in such a way her intelligence is not getting associated with the mind. Her intelligence is getting purified. Cheto Darpanamarjuna, with the scriptural knowledge, with the Vaishnava dharmic knowledge, that so much so that the bodily consciousness of the false ego of the ego is of no use, and then what is left is just the spiritual aspect of the soul that is entrapped in the female body. In the 56th shloka, the king O king, who are respectful to everyone, Indra understood Diti's purpose, and thus he contrived to fulfill his own interest, following the logic that self-preservation is the first law of nature. He wanted to break Diti's promise. Thus, he engaged himself in the service of Diti, his aunt, who was residing in the ashram. Now, this is one side of the story, but then the other side of the story, the so-called enemy or the so-called target of Diti, Indra, he is trying to do his own self-preservation. He said to himself, I also need to act in my own interest to take care of myself. I mean, Kashyap Muni is doing his best, but something fails, right? So Indra came to serve Diti. Indra served his aunt daily by bringing flowers, fruits, roots, and wood for yajnas from the forest. He also brought kusha grass, leaves, sprouts, earth, and water exactly at the proper time. So now Diti succeeds as planned by Kashyap. She has to get a benediction as per her wish. But Diti succeeds as per the plan of Kashyap. She has to get heart transformation. So much so that the desire to fulfill her benediction becomes invalidated. In either case, if Diti fails to follow her husband's process, then Indra she cannot get her benediction. So now from Indra's point of view, if Diti fails, he is safe. If Diti succeeds, he is safe. Right? If Diti succeeds, he is safe. But if Diti fails, he's for sure safe. It doesn't matter whether Diti is transformed or not, but he's safe. If Diti succeeds, then his life or the benediction also is linked to the amount of transformation Diti has, and the amount of transformation that the soul within her body, the son, has. And those two are still, there are big if conditions for Indra to be safe in the path that Kashyapuni has put her in, basically. So Indra is thinking, I have to do my own plan to make sure Diti fails, or wait for an opportunity for Diti to fail. So then in Shloka 58, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, O King Parikshit, as the hunter of a deer becomes like a deer by covering his own body with deer skin and serving the deer, so Indra, although at heart the enemy of sons of Diti, became outwardly friendly and served Diti in a faithful way. Indra's purpose was to cheat Diti as soon as he could find some fault in the way she discharged the vows of ritualistic ceremony. However, he wanted to be undetected, and therefore he served her very carefully. So he's coming as the most dependable servant of Diti. So much so that he's waiting for an opportunity for her to fail, and realize that her wish is not fulfilled. And from Kashyap's point of view, if Diti fails, even if Diti fails in the process, Diti should have sufficient transformation that she doesn't feel bad for her own failure, because she's no more interested in the materialistic things. From Kashyap's point of view, Diti is going to succeed either way by transforming herself. He never saw Diti's succeeding by killing Indra as success, basically. Diti's success in killing Indra. So his goal is always see how much transformation Diti can be brought. And Indra's goal is how much he can be saved with one way or other. Right? And Diti, who is strong in her process, has still a lingering false goal that needs to be checked. In the 60th shloka, having grown weak and thin because of strictly following the principles of the vow, Diti once unfortunately neglected to wash her mouth, hands, and feet after eating, and went to sleep during the evening twilight. And this is where now Indra has an opportunity to make sure that Diti's failure is a bigger failure, basically. Finding this fault, Indra, who has all mystic powers, the yoga siddhis such as Anima and Laghima, entered Diti's womb while she was unconscious or being fast asleep. So he took this simple opportunity when she's asleep, and he entered into her womb. Basically, he got the power to enter into her womb because of her failure and because of his strength in Siddha Yoga. After entering Diti's womb, Indra, with the help of his thunderbolt, cut into 7 pieces her embryo, which appeared like a glowing gold. In 7 places, in 7 different living beings began crying. Indra told them, do not cry. And then he cut each of them into 7 pieces again. So he cut 7 verticals and 7 horizontals. Basically, it became, those one womb became pieces of 49 pieces. And all 49 pieces have become 49 children, basically. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Tagore remarks that Indra, by his yogic power, first expanded the body of one Marut into 7, and then when he cut each one of each of the 7 parts of original body into pieces. There were 49. When each body was cut into 7, other living entities entered into new bodies, and thus they were like plants which became separate entities when cut into various parts and planted on a hill. The first body was one, and when it was cut into many pieces, many other living entities entered the new bodies. It's like, you cut a rose plant, cut it and plant it, and then another living entity enters into the rose plant, and then it becomes a separate body, basically. That's a benediction given by Indra to plants when they took on the sin in Chitraketu story. Only we'll read this, basically, right? In Utrasra story. Similar thing happened here, and one womb became 49 children. And O king, being very much aggravated, they pleaded to Indra with folded hands, saying, Dear Indra, we are all Maruts, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us? Then in the 64th chapter, when Indra saw, 64th shloka, when Indra saw that actually they were his devoted followers, he said to them, if you are all my brothers, you have nothing more to fear from me. So bottom line here, so Diti did not know what she's nourishing, but she's actually nourishing devotees of Indra, of the demigods in her womb, whom she thought was one fetus, but became 49 demigods, so whom she thought she'll be engaging them to kill Indra, but they're all friends. But in the process, what happened to Diti is that transformation into a pure Vaishnavi. So that is the section of the shloka where we as men or women in their purusha, in their non-purusha aspect, or in the prakriti aspect, or the feminine aspect, have to turn to Lord Krishna in the role that you're given as a man or a wife, as the role that you're given as a husband or as a wife, or as children, but take those roles with one goal of increasing our relationship with Krishna, increasing our spiritual relationship with Krishna, with our materialistic relationships, basically, by making use of our materialistic relationship to cross over the materialistic thought process to Krishna consciousness thought process, basically. So that's the gist of this set of shlokas that I can think of, or I'm understanding it as, basically. So we will continue with the next section of the shlokas from 65 to 78 on Thursday. On Tuesday, and an Ekadasi, and in a Kartik Ekadasi by Lilananda Prabhu, basically. Yes, Hare Krishna Provision Mataji. Thank you for giving me this opportunity on a Kartik Sunday, and thank you for taking time and coming to and joining this Bhagavatam class on a Kartik Sunday. Hare Krishna, we'll take few questions and any comments we'll discuss for a few minutes and before we end the class. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, reflections? Hare Krishna, Giriraj Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. If there's anything wrong I said, Akinchan Prabhu, please guide me, correct me.
Sorry, Prabhu, I joined a little late.
I know.
Thank you very much for the class. I'm following the verses as well as purpose of Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
That's what it is. When devotees associate, actually 1 year of service she has done to the Supreme Lord, the power of spiritual potency she has acquired, and with that, this is what all about. The spiritual life, the spiritual potency is unlimited. I cannot estimate actually. Here Diti performed this vow to kill Indra, but instead of that way, both of them, I am just going through the reference next verses also to understand overall context of the topic. So that's what it is. Beauty of devotional service is to we won't expect that how much mercy we are going to get by performing bhakti. Yeah, it's a good lesson. And all these 49, 7 into 7, 7 into 7, 49, they become maruts, demigods.
Yes,
because of the spiritual potency they perform, the mother, Didi, and they also.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because a mother performing devotional service means the inside of womb also having consciousness, devotional
Yes, Prabhu.
consciousness.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's what it is, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Praveen Prabhu, Suma Mataji, Praveen Prabhu, Puja Mataji. Any comments? Anything? Any corrections? Hare Krishna. There are no comments. I think we'll close the class here because I have another class at 9 to take. So thank you, Prabhu Sin Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna Brahma Mataji. ఆపుతున్నానమ్మా క్లాస్ ఇక్కడితోని కుమారి మాతాజీ బాలమణి మాతాజీ
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
థ్యాంక్ యూ
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.